Hello and welcome to episode 135 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Darby Hellman.
I'm Jeff Mann.
And I'm Jacob Hamill.
Special guest, Jacob Hamill.
Yes, I'm back.
Back. He is not dead. He is here. He's in the flesh. Actually, Sam Porter Bridges. Sorry, not Jacob Hamill. Sam Porter Bridges. Wearing the best hat, the best accessory that's ever been worn on this podcast. It took me a second when I saw it. I was like, okay, he's wearing the hat. Like, oh wait,
Here to give you your 30 pounds of CDs and Timefall Porter beer
that you desperately need in this crisis, and also Monster Energy drinks,
yes, of course.
Or maybe that's for you to keep your energy up.
I had 3 on the way here.
I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty psyched right now.
Nice. He's ready to podcast. Well, we have a lot of cool video games to talk about. We're gonna try to stay positive and not talk about the world ending, and more just focus on video games and things that make us happy. Speaking of which, both of you two young gentlemen have been playing a happy, fun, beautiful game called Doom Eternal, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ripping and tearing.
Yeah.
Whole lot of ripping and tearing going on my island.
Yeah.
I
mean, Isabella, she just has a bloodlust. I mean,
yes.
what can you say? Actually, before we talk about this, I am going to very briefly say that me and Jeff started a streaming show called Late to the Party, where we are currently streaming Super Mario RPG. Sorry, I forgot that I was going to promote this. And we're going to do a full playthrough of that in multiple parts. Part 1 is up right now, and it was really good.
Yeah,
cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I never played that game. Does it hold up well?
I mean, we're only 2 hours in or something.
We completely messed up, and I deleted the save right afterwards, so I had to go for it again.
We're doing great. The SDS Mini is a confusing little tiny box, but
I got it all figured out now.
But Jeff put in the time, and he got back there. We're so far, the writing is very it's very self-aware and actually legitimately kind of funny. It's very cute and charming, and
people say it's one of the best RPGs ever made.
Yeah, I mean, from the start of it, it's really cool. It is super. I mean, it's less weird for Jeff because he's played Paper Mario and some of the games. They are kind of a spiritual successor to this. But for me, it's really weird to see Super Mario in an RPG, in this turn-based RPG format. It's really odd. But yeah, we're digging it. We're digging it a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So enough about that. Let's get timely and get them views by talking about those little adorable animals. Y'all take it away, and I'll take a nap.
Sure, yeah, Jeff. We are playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, which just came out last week for the Nintendo Switch. This is my first time ever playing an Animal Crossing game. What about you?
Same. I watched my sister play a good bit of the old ones, but this is the first time me actually playing it.
Nice. So how are you, because you picked it up a little later than when it first came out.
I picked it up on Wednesday.
Okay, so where are you, where is your island at right now?
I guess there is a kind of story progression thing going on. I just did the whole thing of setting up the newcomers' houses.
Okay, that's actually where I am. I've been going slow.
And
Jeff will play games twice as fast as you, no matter what.
I'm quite.
He has
shocked.
the time stopping abilities.
I just did that. I made all their stuff. That's already, and I guess the first one will come tomorrow.
Damn, so you're ahead of me actually. Even though I've been playing this game probably about twice as long.
Hey, welcome to my life.
What's your island name?
Koholint.
Nice. Mine is Carmina. And what fruit do you have?
Oranges.
You lucky bitch. I have.
You son of a bitch.
No,
so I think I know where you're going with this.
I have goddamn apples, which is the most basic of all the fruits.
I hate to see it.
I
man.
know. They're not even Granny Smith apples or Gala apples. They're basic ass red delicious apples.
Wait, are there different types of apples?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they're just normal.
What he's getting at is when you pick an island, there are 4 fruits that are native to your island.
Yeah.
And you don't get any of the other ones naturally. You have to get them. Is
there a hierarchy of what fruit is more important than others or something?
No. Okay, so question. I assume this might be the way it is. I'm not sure. So for the whole housing thing, where you have to make furniture, did you look to see what all you need to make yet?
Yeah, I have.
Do you need to make an apple chair, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you need to make an apple chair, or is it a?
It's an
chair?
orange one.
Cool.
So I didn't know if it was I guess it's just based on your native fruit. That would be very lucky on my part if it was all orange, oranges for everyone.
No, so pretty much when you start, so the I guess the setup for this Animal Crossing game is that you are going to a deserted island, which you will name, and you will eventually build a little community there with the help of a Mr. Tom Nook.
Venture capitalist.
Yeah.
Tom.
And so pretty much your island will be populated with I think one of 6 or one of 5 different fruits. So you have apples, which is what I have. Then there's peaches, there's cherries, there's oranges like Jeff, and pears. And there's also coconuts that you can get.
Nice.
But I have apples, which I'm a little bummed about.
I got pears from something. I think Tom Nook might just
So is this just an aesthetic thing? Okay.
It's just an aesthetic thing.
Okay. Gotcha.
But so far though, I'm really loving this game. Actually, I'm loving it way more than I thought I would.
Same.
It's tremendously adorable and charming and relaxing in a way, and I find it to be, it's nice to have a game where I can just go in, I can play it for an hour or two. I can get done what I need to get done in that day, and I just feel satisfied with it, and I don't feel like I need to keep playing it for any longer or really grind out stuff. It feels it's a nice game to just jump into and do some relaxing things, talk to your villagers, and just call that a day.
Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow. So who are your villagers, by the way?
I'm blanking on their names. I looked it up because I was curious with the whole housing thing or whatever, and because I did the whole Tom Nook ticket thing.
Right.
To go to different islands, okay, how many villagers can I get? How picky should I be? Looked it up. 10 villagers is your max.
Okay. And
there are over 400 possible villagers.
Yeah.
So we're probably not going to have any of the same.
No. But who are your starting villagers?
I was trying to remember. I'm awful with names just in general. One is a little sheep dude, or a ram dude or whatever, who really likes to exercise. And another one's a little rabbit girl that kind of looks like a superhero or a wrestler or something.
Okay. Nice. I have someone kind of similar to your ram guy. His name is Tank, and he's a rhinoceros.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and he's really into weightlifting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like with there being 400 different villagers, do these villagers have enough personality to them, or do they kind of feel like? So
it's going to be a lot of crossover between what they say. I think there are a couple different key personality types that they have or whatever.
Yeah. And I think they all have unique catchphrases.
Yeah. They all say different little things in their sentences or they're saying.
Tank says "kerpow."
Okay,
mm-hmm.
Nice.
So I have Tank,
and then one of them you get it, and he just has a super racist catchphrase. Jeez.
No. Well, no, I went to
Craig. Yeah, you gotta go. Yeah,
So, like Jeff said, you can buy pretty much Nook Miles tickets, which allows you to go to an quote abandoned island, and you can meet other characters there, which you can then invite to come to your island. And I met a pop star hippopotamus.
Hell yeah, dude!
And her catchphrase was "hipster," which I was like, "Excuse me."
Does she command it at you? It's
excuse me, bitch.
Yeah, I was
accusing
you. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel a little called out, but my other starting villager, her name was Frida, and she's a ram who wears a hot dog shirt.
Well, nice. I respect that.
Yeah, I did a little digging on the Animal Crossing Wikipedia about her character. Apparently she loves fast food, and her Japanese name is Wendy, as in referencing the fast food chain Wendy's.
So most of these villagers are people who have apparently been in previous Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there are probably some new ones in here, but a lot of them, especially now that there's so many, they're gonna a lot of them are the same.
Yeah, so what do y'all think about the gameplay loop? Because this is both of your first Animal Crossing, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, generally, and I especially want to hear from Jeff, because it was kind of a surprise that Jeff said, "Hey, surprise! I bought this game." Whenever we had talked about it, neither of us planned on getting it. And as far as I know, I've never really known. I don't know of any life sim game that you've ever played. I can't think of any game like this. I mean, like obviously that's a genre that a lot of people love, but I never know. I mean, I don't know you two have done it either, but I know more about Jeff's gaming history. So I'm interested to see how you're like what you think about the gameplay loop, because like me personally, I know that I would not like this game.
Yeah.
It's just not my personality. Like I really wish that I did, because I definitely get it. I totally get it, but I would be bored. But what are you thinking?
I'm really liking the gameplay loop. I'm curious to see how I'll feel once I get done with this kind of story stuff, as far as them keep on giving me tasks, the progressing, because at this point I'm not really focusing on decorating my house right now, and all that kind of stuff for the most part. I'm buying like furniture and all that kind of stuff. Like when I see, okay, that looks interesting, because I know at some point like I'll be giving gifts and that kind of stuff. But kind of focusing on just building my village out, and then plan on once I do all this stuff with Tom Nook and all that kind of stuff, progress all that way, and get my 10 villagers that I'm happy with or whatever. That's when I'm going to really start customizing all that kind of stuff. But right now, the gameplay loop is satisfying, because again, you gotta have goals to go for and all that, and you know how to do it. And I feel like based on some of the games that we've talked about playing on here the last couple years, like let's say Spider-Man for instance, where there's kind of a checklist thing where it's different. I think Animal Crossing is more satisfying than that, but just for example, obviously I usually enjoy that stuff more than you for the most part. So just kind of doing that stuff is fun, going through kind of the routine, but there's a little more to
that's
it
like
than just that.
Is the kind of draw with Animal Crossing, is it more of a like you are just have a sandbox to explore and like see how these different things interact with each other, or is it more of like, hey, these are goals that you are like going towards, like a big goal, a small, like are they like in-game goals, or is it more like, obviously not directly, but is it more like Breath of the Wild's like sort of fun factor was you don't know what's going to happen, you're just explore and you just go like try different things,
right? I've seen a few people like kind of cheekily compare Animal Crossing to Minecraft. I think that's kind of a good comparison.
Especially once you get the terraforming.
Yeah. So with Minecraft, that game definitely has goals, and there's like an end game that you're trying to get to. Whereas with Animal Crossing, I think that game is all about customizing your space. I mean, in Minecraft, you can just live in like a dirt hole and it'd be fine. Like you don't have to make an extravagant mansion. But Animal Crossing, I think, is definitely about building a community with characters that you care about and that you want to talk to, and crafting this community in your particular style, exactly how you want it, both the island itself and as well as your own house, your own space.
Yeah,
I've seen like Twitter's filled with people posting their Animal Crossing stuff. I
saw
someone pretty much turn the island into a city.
It is bonkers. The like customization stuff must be pretty insane. I've just seen like people hanging stuff in their room, and like someone had all of the Childish Gambino albums up there, and they look great. It's something that like
you get a little pixel thing you can kind of like with squares you can fill colors in. That's what people are doing, and you can use QR codes or whatever so other people can get them.
Yeah, like the pattern maker in that game is insane.
It must be, because the things that I've seen made are
and also just the items that are actually in the game are also there's so many of them.
I bet it's one of those things that would be very hard to play this Animal Crossing and then go back to a previous one, because the customization.
This is one of those things where I don't know. Jacob feels the same way. It's hard for us to, say compared to that, because it just seems like from the outside. As far as the older games and now playing this one and seeing what people are doing, there's a lot more focus on customization on this, at least as far as what you're able to do compared to previous games. To like when Darby's talking about what's this game's about, it's kind of going your day-to-day life and all that kind of stuff, just doing these goals or the whole open thing. It seems like this game's kind of more focused on both than the previous games, where it was more the checklist thing with some kind of openness as far as the customization. But this goes a lot deeper in it, and this one in particular, it's more like, what do you prefer to do? It's kind of you can kind of do more of your own thing.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's I like just when I've tried. Stardew Valley was the one that I gave like the most honest effort into getting into one of these type of games.
Yeah, that's what my thinking with as far as like would I like it. With as far as Animal Crossing, I haven't, like you said, I haven't really tried any of these games. I only watched my sister play it, and that was years ago.
Right.
Obviously, my tastes have changed. Like I'll give it a shot. And just with everything going on, and with the times, things like, this is the best time for me to even possibly try this game, just in every way, shape, and form.
Well, and I do honestly want to talk about that a little bit. Like, what has been y'all's experience playing Animal Crossing in this current time? Because obviously Animal Crossing was going to be awesome and culturally relevant regardless, but it really does seem almost like unbelievable how perfect this game was for the kind of terrible time we're in, when everyone's like stuck at home and can't socialize with each other, and then suddenly here comes Animal Crossing that is all about like the socialization and like feeling warm, and like it's kind of almost eerie how perfect this was for the moment. I mean, has this helped you guys at all with just like, I don't know?
Definitely. I mean, it definitely is, in a time where people can't go out and they can't hang out with their friends, it is nice to be able to gather in a social kind of space, be it virtual, and be able to hang out and talk and show off, and people can trade items like, hey, I got oranges, come over to my island if you want to get some oranges, or hey, with the stock market, which I don't know if you've heard about that.
Market, that's pretty good.
I need to, like, I didn't know how exactly that works. I may need to go in there today and, I guess past time, whatever.
You gotta wait for that those good prices.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, hey, Timmy and Tommy, they're buying terms for like 300 bells a pop. Come on over to my island and get some money. So that's a fun experience for sure. I actually bought this game because I was very interested in the co-op aspect of it, and so I'm actually playing with my girlfriend a lot.
Which I definitely want to hear about that experience too.
Yeah. So I guess for people who don't know, because Jeff, you're playing a solo experience. So with the co-op on this, basically you only can have one island per Switch, per console.
That was a controversy.
Yeah. And this whole co-op, the way it's structured in Animal Crossing has kind of generated some conversation, some controversy. So I do want to share my experience with sharing an island with somebody. So the first person who starts the game, they become the island or the resident representative, and they are the mayor, so to speak. They're in charge of making the big milestones and selecting where the museum goes, where do those the new residents, where are they going to live, where do you want to build the bridge. They're in charge of making those milestones, and then the second player has a more limited role. They can't do that stuff. They're not the island or the resident representative. And so at first I was a little kind of bummed because it sounded like the second player was getting a really like gimped experience playing the game.
Yeah.
But the more that we play it together, I mean, it's not ideal. It's definitely not perfect. And it does have a lot of problems, but it's not as bad as I initially felt it would be. And I think, and a part of that is also because of how we want to play the game. I can think of a billion other scenarios where this type of structure would be a problem.
Like, when you were talking to me about it, you said it's great because you are a couple kind of like doing this in your free time, going together. But like if you were a brother and sister or two, siblings or something,
or a parent and a child,
we're kind of like fighting over, wanting to do their own thing.
Yeah, especially because
that's when it would get worse.
Yeah, because we share the island, we also share the resources, and so if so we got to be like, hey, let's not dig up all the rocks because those take time to respawn, or don't sell all the apples. Whereas if you're like a parent playing with a child, and your child may not understand not to, leave shit everywhere, or
stop chopping down all the trees.
Don't chop down all the trees.
Use the stone axe, not the real axe.
Exactly. So there are problems with that, but the way that we want to play, which is together and collaboratively, it does kind of work out. She can still decorate her own house. She can still buy things. She can even contribute to those big island milestones. So an early checkpoint is, you have to donate 15 unique animals to Blathers the owl, so he'll open the museum. And so
Blathers the owl.
Yeah, he's great. He's one of my favorite characters.
Hates bugs.
He hates bugs, which is hilarious. I will never stop giving him insects because when he freaks out, it's absolutely adorable. It kills me.
You're traumatizing this poor owl.
He's just too damn adorable. But she could donate insects to him too, and that would count towards the total 15.
Yeah.
And I could not donate the same insects that she donated because they had to be, unique insects.
Yeah.
And you can actually walk around the museum, which is a wonderful space.
Oh yeah,
it is so good. Like
I got to go and it's like, man, this thing's big. Like I gotta fill out this whole freaking thing.
Like I was a history major in college, and so I have studied exhibit and museum design, and that museum is not just great from a game design perspective, it's great from an actual museum and exhibit design perspective.
What's also cool, Dari, about the way the fossils and all that work, you like Jacob said, you can only give one of each kind. So if you get like extras, you can kind of display them. Like I ended up getting this one before he was like, okay, I'm not taking it anymore to get the museum built. But I have I'm bad with dinosaur names. So anyway, dinosaur's like skull or whatever. It's like, okay, let me do it. I just threw it outside and it's like big, like a couple stories tall.
Oh jeez.
They're like, and you walk like if you walk farther away, you can still see it and all that.
That's cool.
So you can kind of create like dinosaur exhibits like out in the world if you got the right.
Nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And for example, like quests, character quests or requests, she can do those as well. We were playing together one time, and a character named Gulliver washed up on the beach.
Oh yeah.
And because I was the leader, which we'll get to the leader and follower. I'll address that in a second. I was the leader at that moment when I spoke to him, and so I was tasked with collecting the things for him, and I got the reward for completing that quest. But then when she logged on later to play by herself, she could do that quest on her own and get a different reward.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say for Gulliver, he'll wash up a lot.
Yeah.
I think I saw something about a reward if you do that like 30 times.
Yeah.
What's that man doing? Why is he keep?
He keeps on falling off his ship. And it's just kind of funny talking to him afterwards. Like, okay, I sent the message because he's like pretty much using his cell phone, like using text type of things. Like, it says read. They haven't replied yet. I'm sure they're coming. Yep. And you go later. It's like, it's okay. They'll be here any minute now.
Buddy.
Poor Gulliver. I want him to join my little community.
But y'all definitely recommend it, at least for if it looks like something that you would be into, because like it's definitely not a game for everyone, obviously.
Yeah.
With playing cooperatively, I guess one last thing is that if you're playing together in a session, one character is the leader, the other characters are the followers. This is if you're playing cooperatively, not if you're doing the online multiplayer.
Yeah. We should try to do the online thing at some point.
Pretty much, it's kind of like the Lego Batman games, if you know what I'm talking about, where pretty much the leader controls the camera, and if the follower gets too far off screen, they're kind of teleported. Again, not ideal, but we've kind of gotten used to it. And the good thing is that you can switch between who is the leader and who is the follower by just shaking the controller and hitting A.
Yeah.
If you had to go into a menu and change it, I think it'd be a lot more irksome.
Right. At least y'all can take turns, so you both kind of have the experience of.
Yeah, so just you kind of said it, but I just wanted to make sure, like with this whole co-op thing. So you both have houses and all that on the island?
Yes.
Like your own individual houses? Okay. Yeah. That's neat, at least.
Yeah, and we get different, sometimes we'll find different DIY recipes, and, it's just like, I have this. Do you want this item? I can make it for you and then gift it to you. I'm like, oh, thanks. And then I can do the same thing back. Yeah. We can send messages to each other.
I guess that's primarily why, because when you go into Timmy, Tommy's, whatever's little shop, at least in the beginning, they had the DIY recipes for the stuff that Tom Nook just gives you naturally. I guess that stuff's just kind of there for the co-op companion.
Yeah, that is a bad part about it, is that, if Tom
you don't
Nook,
share.
Yeah, so. If Tom Nook gives me a recipe through the, quote, story, she doesn't get those recipes. Yeah. She has to go buy them from the shop.
Hey, I was very curious why those were there. It's like, but yeah, it makes sense.
So, ultimately the co-op, because I know this is a big topic for people because Animal Crossing is such a family-friendly game. And, if you're a household with one Switch, which is probably a lot of households, you're going to have to be sharing that with another person, that Animal Crossing experience. Ultimately, I think playing this game with her, I like it more. I like this game more playing with her than I would without her. And so I think it's ultimately a good experience to have.
But y'all are having a very cooperative thing, yeah.
So it is a mixed bag and something to I think to recognize if you're interested in this game.
Something that probably could have been done better, but still worthwhile.
Definitely.
Yeah, I guess what kind of do suck is you mentioned like her getting on there by herself at some point. Well, it's good that she can do that and not be like, I need your character, Jacob, before I can do my character. But it's also because the resources are limited. She gets through some of it. It's like, I need this, but you took it earlier.
Yeah. So it's far from perfect, but I don't feel that it is game ruining.
Can you pull heists and go into your friend's house and steal all their shit? And
You
escape?
can. We've actually been trolling each other because you can bury stuff anywhere on the island. So we've been burying like sticks and other garbage, and like, oh, is there a fossil here? And she'll dig it up, and it's just a stick.
Oh yeah, just a little tidbit. I haven't gotten far enough to where this actually matter, but fun little thing that I'm sure most people knew, but this is a funny little thing I did by accident. You know how you can dig up money bags?
Yeah.
I accidentally planted it back and it's growing a tree.
I heard that's a thing.
Oh,
I heard
money
you can make
tree,
a money
baby.
tree.
Yeah, that's another thing. This game has so many small touches that when you find like a secret or a little touch like that, it feels so.
But almost,
wow.
I haven't seen people say that, like, again, not in a direct way, but it like kind of felt like Breath of the Wild in the way of like you would do something like, I'm gonna try like electrifying the sword and throwing it at someone in Breath of the Wild. Holy shit, that worked! And like I've seen people have a lot of the same experience in Animal Crossing where it's like, wait a minute, that works! Like I did this like stupid thing and it actually works.
Yeah. Like it was really fun to kind of teach my girlfriend how to catch tarantulas. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Or the trick to how to get the most from a rock.
I've heard there's just sea bass everywhere or something.
Yes,
nothing but
you see all these big fish and like 75% of them are sea bass, the most metal of fish.
That's also what I say. Like
that's the black bass.
Oh, the black bass. Sorry.
Everyone keeps acting like Tom Nook is the antagonist of Animal Crossing when it's actually the sea bass.
Actually, I get a lot more black bass than sea bass. Thinking about it,
I get a lot of horse mackerel.
So it might be an island thing.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
that makes sense, I guess. When you go, I think have you heard of Tarantula Island?
I have. I want to go.
So I ended up, I was like, I'm curious what this was about. I looked at the descriptions I think I've been to this island, but I went during the daytime.
Oh.
I was like, shit.
Yeah, I guess I need to start using the Nook tickets at night. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I'm using them primarily during the day, I think. I ended up going to like 4 of them in a day. Because I really wanted that iron ore or whatever for
we should probably
Timmy
move on, but any last Animal Crossing words?
This game is super wonderful. Actually, on my, I guess, can I self plug?
No, yes.
No.
Let's go.
Please.
Okay.
No plugs.
I started my own blog. It's jacobhamill.blog, Hamill. And I posted yesterday pretty much because my girlfriend and she watches me play a lot of games, but we don't play games together super often. So at certain milestones in Animal Crossing, we're sitting down, we're having a little conversation, and then I post a transcription of that conversation on my blog, so you can come read it. We're just kind of sharing our experience, how we're liking the game and so on. So go check that out if you want to read it.
That's awesome. And you can also see all of Jacob's old stuff from our blog, like also on there now, right? Yeah. I visited the other day, and that's exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we have another game that me and you need to talk about a little bit. You more than me because you beat it, and that's Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I did beat it.
I'm the slow boy. It's a combination of me being like slower than average people and Jeff being 3 times faster than the average person in games that like leads us to this at all times. And I've played like 10 hours of Overwatch in the last like week and a half, so that's also part of it. But I've gotten like one of the wisps. Like you get to like basically the main part of the game is like you have to go find these 3 wisps. Every time I say that word, wisps. You find these 3 things that you can do in any order you want. I've done one of them, and I'm at the boss fight for the second. So I don't have a whole lot to say other than I am now finally getting into boss fights in this game, and boy, are they brutal. That first one, it took me a while to get through the first one, which it was this like big spider. And
fuck that spider.
Yeah, that spider was rough, man. It like the timing that you have to do is just so like so perfect. It's like really hard. But I'm having actually more trouble with the second one. This second one, like I just get to a point where he's like, I can easily get his health halfway down, and then he like floods the whole area, so you can't heal. Like, 'cause you have to be standing on the ground to heal yourself. It's this like long wind up move, and you can't do that in the water. So halfway through, I just stopped being able to heal myself, and I'm not even getting close, like not even remotely close to like getting him down after that.
Yeah, I didn't really have that much trouble with that one that much. It did take me a couple times once I got to the water thing. I got to the water part really quick, but it took me a couple times after that. It's like, okay, I need to make sure I'm completely healed and all that. And, figured out, okay, this is how I should move pretty much at all times to try to avoid attacks the best way. And this is how I should hit them, all that kind of stuff. Nice way to figure it out. The thing that made me mad about the spider one is she makes little spider babies that kind of act on their own. And when you're like to one side, you can't see the other side of the screen, and the babies do not really move unless you're near them. So you run back to the other side of the screen, and they run off screen, and you have like no time to react. And like you forget they're there, and they hurt you.
Oh, and that boss fight, the whole name of that boss fight is going left, right, back and forth from side to side because you're having to avoid this.
And also that. Yeah, that was the first one I did without really doing crazy amount of exploring, so I was less powered up and less help and stuff than I was for the other one.
Yeah, same here. Did you do the water 1 second too? Yeah, so we're in the same trajectory. But I'll be talking about this again more after I beat it in the next few weeks. But while we have time here, Jeff, talk about the experience as a whole and what you think. I mean, how did this wrap up? Are you still just as high as we've been this whole time?
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, baby. It's so good, man. The games are so beautiful all around from, obviously the visuals, just... the music, so good. Just even it's one of those kind of small things. Just the way the characters talk in their made-up language, it just fits. Everything just wraps so perfectly in a package, except for some of the performance issues.
Yes, yeah, that is the biggest problem in the game, and I'm still having the audio skipping. But
yeah, I didn't have it that. It sounds like I didn't have it that much as a lot of people, thankfully. But yeah, overall, a very beautiful thing. Got a little teary-eyed at the end.
Nice. It's that score, dude. At least for me, it's that score that makes everything so much more emotional.
No, everything just builds up so well, and just the way you get abilities and how they kind of add on to each other, and just the Metroidvania way of you get a skill. It's like, oh, that's what you use there, so I can get to that area, and then you go back and all that kind of stuff, and yeah. So good. It's hard for me. And since Dari's not done yet, I can't talk about specific stuff, which I know we will go a lot deeper into once he has completed the game.
Right. That's why I don't think we need to go too deep here, because like I'm gonna have this done by Final Fantasy at the very latest.
Hard time limit.
Well, my time limit was a little shorter than yours.
Yeah. But yeah, super digging the game. Super excited about it. But there is another game that I'm excited for all three of us to talk about now, because we got Jacob talking about it a long time ago, but now we have me and Jeff, and that is Resident Evil 2.
That's the time limit. I'm going to finish this before Friday.
Right.
Or completely finish it, I guess.
Oh, man, I forgot that Resident Evil 3 remake is coming out on Friday.
I got it pre-ordered, so the way I'm doing it, I'm not going to do I'm doing Leon A and Claire B. I'm not going to do the other way around.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna do an A and B. I'm not gonna redo it. I'll see whatever little differences there are, but
that was one of my criticisms of this remake, is that the first game, the original game, offered a little more if you did the reverse of the two campaigns. This game, there's kind of really no point to doing that.
Yeah. I might do it at some point if I feel like it. Maybe try to do it faster, because I got done with Leon A last night, so maybe go do faster at some point, much later down the line, because I'm going to be Resident Evil out by the time I get done with Claire being then Resident Evil 3 on Friday.
Definitely.
Yeah, going right from RE2 straight
yeah,
into
baby,
RE3.
let's go!
So, Jeff, what'd you think about Leon Ah?
I loved it. Game's so good.
Very good.
Like, I just love the little touches. It's one of those things where I'm sure I kind of knew about it and kind of heard about it, but it didn't really stick with me until I actually saw it in person. Just the way that zombies linger the whole way. Like, when you kill a zombie, they're there the whole game. Their body's just lying there.
Yeah.
The whole time. And when you don't kill don't kill a zombie. They're going to be a pain in your ass later. Because you got to go back and forth between the police station a lot. At first, I was a little like, oh man, that's kind of lame, but it kept on going. It was kind of like, and then when you noticed all the zombies, staying alive, and then the bodies being there, it's like, okay, I get it now. Okay, this is great. This is great. So you got to really think about, and I'm sure this is more apparent in repeated playthroughs. When you kind of know what's going on, it's like, okay, who should I keep alive? What resource I use here? All that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think you're kind of hinting at the way that I and a lot of other people kind of see the Resident Evil games as well as survival horror in general. I was going to say, Darby, do you want to jump in? Because you kind of have a disagreement, I guess, in what you like about what you want out of Resident Evil games.
This is going to be a pretty funny juxtaposition. I really dislike this game quite a bit. Unfortunately, I think like what I said last week when I was like hoping that those things would not age well, it kind of honestly stayed pretty true. I mean, there was not that I like had no enjoyment from this game, but it was just like a very few select moments, and then those moments kind of like died out again. It was like me and my sister kind of both felt the same way. I'm like near the end of Leon A. I imagine I'm near the end at least.
I guess where generally are you?
I just did the whole section with Ada.
Oh, okay.
And then now I'm back in like after that. I did the chess puzzle. That's where we left off.
Yeah, okay. So you're about close to like the final third of the game.
I figure we were like close to the end at least. But I don't think we're going to be doing any more of it, unfortunately. I mean, like we both just kind of decided like I'd just rather go finish Baba Is You than we'd ever beat. And like this is definitely something like I get why other people are. I think it's just not my type of game.
Yeah,
like the survival horror. I mean, but not even the survival horror. It's just there's just specific things about this game that just like did not click with me whatsoever. And a big part of that is like I didn't realize just how much of a puzzle game it is. Like it is a puzzle game. Like it is hardcore a puzzle game. But kind of my problem is like I can be okay with puzzle games, and like my sister loves puzzle games, but I feel like this game was like did horror stuff and did puzzle stuff, but did neither of them good. Didn't really succeed in either of them. I feel because like the puzzles were just so much of like they're kind of puzzles, but they're kind of not. It's a lot more of just run around until you find this thing. Then now where does this thing go? Run around. Oh, it goes there. Boom. And like that is like most of the progression of the game, and it's more just like the obstacles to get there and everything. But to me, at least, the zombies like lost any like scare factor and even like strategy factor very quickly, and then they just kind of became obnoxious to us. It was just, it was never, for me, it was never satisfying clearing a room and just being like, all right, I gotta shoot this zombie a bunch of times, try to get around him. And it just felt like everywhere I went in the game, it was just that over and over and over again. And even when Mr. X got introduced and kind of Mr. X like unlocked the zombies, I feel, where it's like, okay, now I get the purpose of the zombies. They're like, Mr. X is chasing me, and then now they're like in the way, and then like these things like working together. And that was when, like, I'm like, oh, okay, this is clicking. I'm really liking this. But that really only lasted for about, like, 20 minutes for me. And then after that, it just, again, got kind of predictable. Like, Mr. X just does the same thing every time. And anytime we go somewhere, it's like, oh, well, he showed up. We have to abandon this puzzle and just go run around and try to get him off our trail. And it's like, okay, he's gone. Now let's try to do this again. Let's work really fast. Oh, shit, he's back. All right. We're going to run away again. And like it just felt like we were in just this endless cycle like that. And the other like big thing about just the enemies themselves is even when they would introduce big crazy looking enemies that like seem like, oh, this is the game is like evolving its enemies, it's kind of not, because like every enemy in the game is effectively the same because of the health system. Like if you have life to spare, if you run into a zombie, he'll take one life from you and then he'll kind of pause so you can run around them. Same exact thing happened with anyone else. Like Mr. X, he takes one life from you, and then you can kind of run around him. That thing in the sewer, gigantic, scary monster.
Yeah, the G creature.
It hits you once, and then it stops, and you walk around. So it's like it's basically just a zombie. It just looks different, but like effectively in game wise, I feel like even when they hinted at like, oh, we're gonna like make variety in this game, it didn't effectively feel like variety. Do any of these things make sense? I mean, like, I hate to be so like antagonistic.
I mean, I don't exactly really understand your problem with the enemies, because I feel like that's the design of most enemies in a video game. Did you want more things that maybe pose like a direct, like in the way that like maybe like a monster in like Amnesia or Soma might pose, where it's
I mean, I just wanted like those, like a lot of the future monsters that I encountered were no harder than the zombies. They were just kind of like in game wise, it just kind of felt like nothing.
You didn't find the G creatures to be more of a problem?
Which ones were those?
The creatures in the sewer.
Blobmans.
I mean, not really. I mean, maybe I'd only really encountered the one like big one that you like got that you had to get through in the sewer, and he came up and like attacked me once, and then sidestepped around him, and then just kept walking. You know.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
No, I mean, I think your criticisms are definitely valid. I think like you said before, I think a problem with it, and you also like weren't really. I think you went in. You mentioned to me earlier that you weren't super digging the story, or you didn't really care for it,
and that got worse and worse.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Again, I think with survival horror, I think the way that I see it, and Jeff, you might agree with me, is that like you said, puzzle games aren't really your thing, and the Resident Evil games, as well as survival horror in general, that is a genre that the whole game itself, from top to bottom, is a puzzle, in the sense that where I find enjoyment from these games is kind of figuring out how to move through a space.
Moving through a space, with using your resources or whatever. Like, that's why I was getting out the whole zombie thing staying, because there's like one of the rooms, I think it was maybe called, I can't remember what it's called, maybe called the lounge or whatever, right next to the library. Like, through most of the game, I ended up luring 2 zombies in there at some point, and they were there for like half the game, and every time I went through there, it's like, oh shit, they're here. Right. Go for it, and a couple times I was like low to like no ammo. I was like, I have no time to deal with you.
Let's see. I mean, these same things happen with me, and like I had these same strategies and everything. I guess just the difference is, for me, like I did all those same things, but it was never fun. This is just kind of like anti-fun for me. Which, I mean, it's definitely a thing with me. It's something that's just like the gameplay loops and the things that I find satisfying in games. This was kind of just like the antithesis of that.
These type of games definitely appeal to a certain type of brain. I feel like for me, it's like, wanting to go through, I want to sweep the museum as time efficient, as quickly as possible, without having to make, unnecessary trips to the item box. So I'm taking the least amount of resources as necessary, conserving my ammo, so I'm getting, I want to get straight perfect headshots, and or leaving zombies that I don't necessarily need to kill. So when I get to the end of the game, I have like full stacks of Magnum rounds, and I can just dump on the final boss. I mean, that's the survival horror.
I'm so bad with that. I didn't have a lot of ammo.
Well,
a lot of places.
I mean, it's kind of, but again, like I'm doing all those same things, but like the game's also not even like hard enough to where like these things happen, sure, but for the most part, you can kind of just meander around zombies, or like shoot them in the head enough to like make them stop, and then you leave. Like, I died very, 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 very few times in this, because like it was not like they presented this like hard puzzle here, but for me it was like at all times it was just tedium over like something, and I didn't even feel like I was really discovering things, which I that is a big thing that I like to do in games, and it just felt so binary. It felt like an old game in the sense that like this is just this slot goes into this. It wasn't even like I'm used to when I play these games, like even when we play Control and other games like that, like there's something like I'm enjoying the gameplay or whatever, and my sister super enjoys puzzles and everything, and we kind of like our 2 brains combined to like conquer this game, but neither of us felt very satisfied, because like just traversing the world was just obnoxious to me. And then whenever we got to puzzles, they're not really there's very few. Like the hacking thing was about the only like okay, we gotta figure this out. Which also, like, I guess I'll like slightly spoil. What the fuck was the hacking gun? Like, that was just like, and what was that whole section of the game?
I'm confused.
The Ada section.
Oh, right, yeah. She's a spy.
Which is, like, I don't know. Like, the hacking gun was a bit much for me. And also,
it's the 90s.
Why the hell did she have like a cocktail dress and stilettos underneath her FBI thing?
Resident Evil,
90s.
Resident Evil is like cheeseball Romero level zombie. It's just like fun popcorn.
I just could not get into it. And like, yeah, I thought the writing was pretty bad. Like, I hated I hated Leon, I hated Ada. I just really didn't like the characters.
Here's the thing though, I just can't agree with like about anything you're saying.
I gave Jeff a big
I'm sorry.
big sad face.
I knew this was gonna be a bummer. I mean, like, I'm glad it wasn't just me. Like, me, Ginny, and Wolfie, none of us particularly enjoyed it. There was like a few moments here and there that I did. But
yeah, it just sounds like a genre that's not your cup of tea at all. That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I mean, I have enjoyed other horror games. I mean,
well,
but I guess, I mean, this is all also a horror game. Just like, it had zero story, zero anything else like that. You know, it was just kind of, I mean, not zero, but basically zero.
Yeah, like I said, with survival horror, I feel like it's going for a different thing than, say, pure horror, than like Outlast or Amnesia, where those games are designed to scare you at all times, and you're supposed to feel scared and shocked consistently throughout the game. Where survival horror is not really about that. It's more about managing your resources and kind of striving for that optimal kind of speed run style playthrough. In an occasionally tense atmosphere and kind of scary moments and, you know, icky monsters.
Lots of icky monsters.
But there is a puzzle later on in the lab section which you have not gotten to that is a little more challenging. Would you agree? And there is a monster that might address some of your problems. But I mean, if you're not filming the game,
it's obvious. It's too late.
It's too late. It's not going to change your mind.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it is a bummer though.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that it's that way. I mean, I like having the discussion, but I hate when I'm like, everyone else like loves the thing and I'm like pretty hard on the opposite. Like, this is probably one of my least favorite games of like 2019 is cursed for me. 2019 is a cursed year for video games. But it's not something, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it like, it's just none of the things that people I love about this like click with me.
Right.
It's like, I totally get why it's loved. I mean, and like visually and presentation and everything else, and the pacing with the like resources and everything, like it's all really well done. At least just for what they were going for, but it didn't have the scare factor. It just didn't have the like moment to moment enjoyment for me, you know, personally.
Yeah, I feel like gameplay wise, you might enjoy the GameCube Resident Evil remake a little more. There's like half the ammo in that game, and there's also Crimson Heads, which is an idea that I'd love to see Resident Evil return to. Pretty much, if you kill a zombie, it stays on the ground, but after a given amount of time, if you do not burn that zombie's body, it will come back as a Crimson Head, which is a stronger and faster zombie.
Nice.
But that game, so you and you have limited amount of kerosene to burn the bodies with, obviously, so you can't just shoot every zombie, because then now I've kind of boned myself in this game. So but again, you know, if you didn't like Resident Evil 2's story, you're gonna hate Resident Evil 1's story.
I'm sure.
And also, I will defend tank controls till the cows come home. But a lot of people disagree with me.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, Leon doesn't feel great to control, and he's not in a bad way. Like, it's intentional. He's supposed to be slow as fuck. And we're like, Leon, run! You have this giant man chasing you. Run! Like, why are you still briskly jogging?
Yeah, I think ultimately, from a design perspective, I think what really I like about survival horror and Resident Evil is that I'm kind of creating tense situations for myself. You know, if I want to, it's like, okay, this zombie is giving me a real problem. I'm just going to take the shotgun. I'm going to blow its head off.
Yep.
I have the option to do that. But if I'm like, I want to save these shotgun rounds, I'm going to use my pistol. You know, I'm kind of weighing that cost of that action. Whereas in a game like Outlast, you know, I can never control the situation or make that kind of cost judgment, which is why I don't really like those games too much. I do love Soma a lot, but that's why I kind of prefer survival horror over pure first-person horror. Do you agree? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Yeah, I do generally like, I guess, the Resident Evil style more than, like you said, the Outlast style, because this is my second Resident Evil game. I played 7. That was a different experience with VR. But yeah, just being able to control a little more and it not just being as shocking necessarily. It's like part of it is the kind of the tense atmosphere of it. It's like, things could happen at any time. This is just the atmosphere that is just the game and the visuals and all that stuff.
It's like stress management.
Yeah, stress management and all that. And once Mr. X kind of like, you can come anytime, and just lickers once they're introduced, like, man, I could go around this corner and they could show up right now. I could have triggered something and they're here, and then those are a pain in the butt. Yeah,
and I guess one last thing about Resident Evil 2, with your comments regarding Mr. X, what I liked about Mr. X is how, like you said, the zombies become obstacles. I know you found that annoying. I kind of liked how it kind of shifts where it's not just a zombie anymore. Now it's an obstacle, and if I use my gun, Mr. X, that now becomes a beacon to where Mr. X will now knows where I am and he'll come for me.
I mean, I definitely felt that at first. Like, I mean, when I talked to you like when we had just gotten to Mr. X and we stopped that session, and I talked to you, I was like, yeah, this game's actually it's starting to come together for me, and that was part of it. It was like, yeah, like we had some awesome moments that like I'll always remember of like, oh shit, he's here, run, and then like the zombie's getting me, he's gonna like that was really cool. It was just that didn't last long enough, and it just kind of again felt like my biggest problem with this game was just felt like doing the same sort of thing over and over again. And then it also just got to the point where like Mr. X getting there at first was super tense and like, oh no, he's gonna get me. But then like as we're sitting here trying to like figure out where we have this thing, where does it go, let's look around the map, Mr. X getting there very quickly just became like kind of just a time waster for all of us. Like all of us would kind of groan and be like, damn it, we were just about to figure this out. I guess let's run around in a circle and get them off our trail. It lost its like, oh god, and more just like I just want, like I really want to do the thing, and like because he's not hard to avoid really, and so because there's not this like, oh god, he's gonna kill me. No, he's not, because I run so much faster than him. It's just gonna take me 10 minutes to put this thing in the hole rather than 1, because I have to go run around with Mr. X chasing me. It's just like it just didn't work for me.
I didn't say anything at the time, but I had a feeling when you said it was going to pick up you, Mr. X, I had the feeling in the back of my head like he's going to get annoyed by him very fast. I know it.
I know that boy. He's not good.
And that's why I figured that was going to happen before you even really started the game, to be honest. But then you kind of like, start picking up Mr. X. Like, that's going to change fast.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah, but
I know my boy.
Unfortunate.
I guess I feel bad for you that you didn't like it, but I guess now you know that Survival Horse is not your jam.
I appreciate you letting me borrow it, so I didn't spend $60 on it.
Well, I feel better the fact that I already pre-ordered Resident Evil 3. That I'm the one who liked.
Yeah, I don't want to play Resident Evil 3. I don't really have any interest. I have more interest in RE7, honestly, but even that, like, I don't know, we'll see. But I have more interest in that, at least.
I'm curious if, like, because it's on our short docket or at least a docket for late to the party, how RE4 would fare for you. It's decently different from my understanding.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
It might be better. I mean,
I don't think so. Okay.
I'm not like
I don't know.
It's not like I hate horror games. I mean, there have definitely been some horror games that I really like and really dig. It's just
I just want to know.
This didn't it didn't feel that much like a horror game for me. It was like suspenseful a few times, but like people talked about the dread that they felt playing this game. I just didn't get that.
I wonder how much of it is the fact that you were playing with Jenny and Wolfie.
Maybe, but the whole time I was playing it, I honestly thought that if it wasn't for playing it with them, I would have wanted to bail even faster, because we had a good time talking and like figuring things out or whatever. I was the whole time I was playing, I was thinking if I was alone, I would be even more bored and kind of like annoyed by all of this. Like I in some ways, maybe some of the things would have been scarier, but I think there would have been more problems for me if I played it alone. Personally,
I just wondering what the power creep is where Chris can punch boulders.
Yeah. Oh man, Resident Evil power creep is amazing. Well, I mean, like in Resident Evil 4, you're like suplexing evil priests. So
yeah,
Leon learned a thing or two in between RE2 and RE4. But yeah, you want to move on?
Yeah, let's move on. Jacob, for the last of our game talk, which has gone a long time, but we have some cool games here. You want to talk just a little bit about beating Kentucky Route Zero,
Yeah,
which you talked about a little bit on the podcast already.
Yeah, give me 5 minutes. If it gets to 5 minutes, be like, Jacob, shut up.
All right.
All right. So
5 minutes on the clock. Let's go.
Starting now.
Yeah, so I talked about this game a little bit the last time I was here, and I did a really bad job of explaining it. But I did finish Kentucky Route Zero. It's an amazing game. It's honestly one of the most breathtaking indie games I've played. It's incredible. It's a beautiful adventure game. It's very focused on atmosphere, and it definitely is. I was kind of trying to explain the narrative. Really, this narrative is very dreamlike. There's a lot of dream logic going on.
Probably hard to explain.
Yeah, it's very allegorical in a way. It's not like a narrative as in the characters do this and they do that and do this. It's more of moving in between scenes and kind of crafting these scenes. And there's a lot of games that try to emulate either television with episodic games, or there's movies that try and like Uncharted that try to recreate film. And this is a game, I've never really seen this before. This is a game that I think does a lot to recreate theater. And it is definitely a game where the creators do love theater a lot. There's actually a little interlude part where you are playing from the perspective of an extra in a stage play. And you're a silent extra, and you're watching the other actors on stage act, and you can see the audience. So, and with the idea of theater, I mean, again, like the game is broken up into acts, and the scenes are like scene 1, scene 2, and you're picking dialogue. And what you're really doing is that you're really crafting these characters' backstories, their motivations, how the scenes kind of what is said. You're not necessarily changing the outcome per se, although there are things that are remembered that you do pick, but it's never like there's never an indicator of what is remembered or what is not. It's not like, this character will remember that later on. It just kind of naturally crops up, and you're really kind of crafting these scenes to where even when you finish kind of picking the dialogue options that a character is saying, it'll show the full text that you can kind of read it all again and have the full scene. There's a very wonderful part in Act 3 where you're actually picking the lyrics to a song to a performance.
Okay, like do you hear the lyrics like after you pick them and they happen? Like, okay, that's cool. Yeah,
you're like picking the first line in a verse, and they fill in from there. So it is a really a narrative focused game, but not like in the way that you're kind of crafting these characters and their identities and their motivations and their feelings on kind of the world and what's going on. And there's also, this game is, I hesitate to call it experimental, but there are a lot of experimental-ish qualities to it. The way that it shifts perspective, I think, is very... I've never seen a game really do anything like that before.
Also, the fact that it was made over such a long period of time and these different parts and stuff, it kind of almost feels like it would have had to have been like influenced as it goes,
Absolutely.
And it's like trying different things over the years,
Yeah. This game was actually kickstarted before like the big Mighty Number 9
there was like Kickstarters really before that was a thing.
For $8,000.
Wow.
Yeah. But there's a lot of really cool experimental like interludes. Like for example, when you're playing from the perspective of an unnamed extra in a play, or you're playing from two characters that you never see. They are observing and commenting on the actions of the actual game's main characters, what they do caught on like security footage.
Weird.
It's from their perspective.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a lot of wild things like that. And I think I want to go through this game and take a lot of notes because it is a very rich and dense thematically.
Probably be cool to replay at some point too.
I mean, Act 4, the way it's structured is that you can only see half of the content in that act. Because you're kind of picking, characters are making stops. And it's like, do they do this or do they do this other thing? And so you pick one or the other. You're not going to see the other part. Speaking thematically, I played Disco Elysium a little while ago, and a lot of people have been speaking about this game, Kentucky Route Zero, in conversation with Disco Elysium. That is really fantastic. Since we're living in this coronavirus pandemic, which has brought to light, I'm going to get a little political here. So pardon me.
Get out of here!
Here's
I'm muting this mic.
Spoiler. All games that present a narrative in a real world-ish setting or even fictional setting that attempt to recreate society are inherently political.
fuck you talking about?
When Ubisoft tries to say that this like fall of America shooter taking place in Washington D.C. is not political, like,
Is Watch Dogs political?
But since this coronavirus outbreak has brought into stark light the inequality in power, and oh god, I gotta hurry up. Pretty much, with you. Inequality of power.
It's our podcast. You know it.
Inequality of power and the harm that capitalism and neoliberalism can inflict on people. Whereas Disco Elysium is a game that's very focused on like that actual political ideology. You know, it's going to talk about communism and fascism and neoliberalism, and kind of wrestling with those broad political ideologies and how that impacts the world. I think Kentucky Route Zero is very focused on the effect that those systems, especially capitalism, has not just on people but also communities. Yeah. It's a game about a lot of things, touches on debt, especially the power debt holds over people and how it poisons people. Yeah, how people feel that, you know, they can only live a good life if they pay off their debt. Right. It talks about healthcare. It talks about people kind of making the most of their situation, and again, tying back to community. I think. The power that those systems have on a community is really prominent. The game kind of focuses. It's set in central Kentucky, which is a strong blue collar, you know, lower class area of the country, and pretty much, you know, it spins the story of how this mining town, or this town that was run by a corporation. That corporation later pulled out of that community, and that community was devastated. Right. It's not just the miners or the people who work in the steel mill that lose their jobs. It's the people in that entire community. A central focus of this game is a community-run television studio, which was kind of a bastion for people to express themselves artistically and pursue creative projects they probably would not be able to pursue at, like, you know, a major news station. That was a big deal to those people. And then when the company pulled out, those people all lost not just their jobs, but also their history, their community, their connections. And that's a powerful thing in Kentucky Route Zero.
It really does feel like, strangely, kind of like how this happened, fitting that this game kind of started not super long after like the 2008 crisis and everything like that, and was definitely, from everything I've heard of it, like that is a big thing influencing this, and that it's ending right at what seems to be another turning point in the country, and, you know, populism and everything, and just like questions about, like, all these things are starting to be questioned, and especially with this virus, like this is undeniably like 2008 and then now in 2020 are like two inflection points for these things, and it is pretty wild that it kind of started at that and ends in 2020.
Yeah, it's a great game of the decade of the 2010s, but also a lot of the imagery that it invokes, a lot of the music. Like, it uses a lot of kind of bluegrass worker songs, which were written like a long time ago. They're real songs. They still speak to the issues that we're having today. So in a lot of ways, this is a game very representative of the 2010s, but it's also a game that I think is very timeless in its themes. Nice. And that's why I think it's honestly one of the great games of the past decade.
All right, final, play it down. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm adding it to top games of the decade.
I have too many games to play, Jacob.
So that's went a little long there, but that's Kentucky Route Zero.
No, I appreciate it. I think it's... I love that me and Jeff just come here and talk about our bullshit, dumb games, and we're not bringing anything interesting to the table. And Jacob comes here and actually talks about like how it reflects on the political landscape and stuff. Like, no, you're the smart one in the room. Me and Jeff are just here.
Hey, he also played Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the political undertones of Animal Crossing. I mean, there are legitimately capitalist undertones of Animal Crossing, but we don't have to go into that.
There's like weird environmentalist things or disregard for environmentalism that I have problems with.
I'm going to cut down everything.
Not on your island, but on other islands, it's okay.
Yep.
Fuck the other islands.
All right, we can't do it.
Let's go.
News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jangle. It is time for Nintendo Direct Talk. We got a Nintendo Direct Mini this week.
Little Nintendo Direct talk. Just, small, lowercase n, lowercase d.
Got a little bit. Got a Nintendo Direct Mini this week. They went through games and stuff. We got finally a actual look and release date for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Finally, coming May 29th. We got a new epilogue story, Future Connected, and who boy does this game look good.
That's exciting.
Yep, I'm so excited. Just the things I can see they're changing in there are well appreciated. It's like they're cleaning up the menus and all that kind of stuff. The graphics are such a big improvement. I'm seeing a lot of comparison shots and all that.
Give us the old faces.
There's some people that genuinely prefer the old face and like, you guys are crazy. They look like shit.
I want my character to look like a potato that got stepped on.
And everything's so fucking brown. That stuff was great, and just little quality of life things. In Xenoblade, unlike in Xenoblade 2, when you change people's armor and equipment, the armor actually is on them and all that kind of stuff. They actually have two different things. One, just the armor that you're equipping, and then a visual armor thing, so you can like anything you want to. You will like wearing any armor, but have the stats of the best armor.
It's always like every RPG should have that. At this
seriously,
point.
Dear
on.
Lord, come on.
Just do it.
A lot of things don't make sense anyway. We don't have to be realistic about what the people are freaking wearing.
Especially when like it's not just like I'm wearing this set of armor. It's like individual shirt and helmet and stuff. Like I'm sure in The Witcher now you run around looking like a clown the whole time because you have this bright blue pants and then like a knight's armor suit and then these like weird big puffy gloves. It's like stupid.
The stats, though.
But you have to.
You have to, and I'm really excited for the epilogue story because it's very hinting about connections to 2, and that has me excited.
Nice.
Some lore implications that even I'm like, as someone who only played the first level 1, I'm like, I understand that reference. I think I know where they're going with this. Let's freaking go. And what's also pretty cool about the epilogue story, you can play it the moment you open up the game. You don't have to play the whole game to get to it. It's its own separate thing for people that have already played the game. Like, I just want to know what's happening here, at least first. I'll play the game afterwards. I don't want to, and that's nice for those people that that you can avoid getting spoiled on this actual new content. And there's a couple, I think, new things in the actual game itself. But
everyone will have to take their stand. Are you Team Last of Us or Team Xenoblade?
Yeah, it was kind of the same day. Like, why?
Oh, yeah.
It's the exact same day. And there's another game that's like a day before. Everything's coming out that game.
Well, and also what's coming out that day is the 2K collections they announced. The XCOM 2 collection, the Borderlands collection, and the Bioshock collection. Which
obviously cool that all those games are on Switch. I think
we got Bunny Day for Animal Crossing event. You excited for that, Jacob?
I am.
You ready to dig us some eggs and have nice colorful eggs everywhere? Make little egg tables. Yep. For some reason they decided to end the Pokemon expansion pass with very little actual new information. Just kind of reiterating things. Whatever. Bravely Default 2, finally got to look at that. Demo out right now.
Cool.
Right now. Went to that kind of stuff. Like, pretty cool. The Clubhouse games, the 51 Worldwide Classics coming June
I honestly
5th.
can't remember because, like, in that demo, like, the BP system thing is literally the exact same thing as Octopath Traveler. Was it the same in the old Bravely Defaults? Did it work that same way?
You're the one who would know.
I mean, I don't remember.
Yeah,
because I was looking at it, was like it's literally Octopath Traveler where you build up over 3 turns and then you can unleash it all at once, or weird
thing about that game as far as visual goes, the environments look really good, but the character models don't. It's like why can't they all look good?
Yeah, it's still
consistency. But yeah, the Clubhouse game thing seems to be the hype new game announcement of the whole thing.
Solitaire.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Ninjala, that Splatoon looking ninja game coming out in May. It's free to play, baby. A battle royale. Let's go.
And it's a battle royale with like eight dudes, Jeff.
Yeah.
Then where's my 100 squids on the island? That's what I want to know.
Then we got a bunch of Shadow Drops, Ring Fit Adventure update, a new rhythm mode, which is really cool. I messed around with that some.
Was it fun?
Yep, it was fun, cool, and definitely wears you out. Panzer Dragoon Remake got Shadow Dropped. I've seen mixed things about it.
Doesn't look great, to be honest.
Well, even people who like the original are saying mixed things.
Yeah.
From what I've seen. Shinsekai Into the Depths got Shadow Drop. It's a Capcom game that I believe was on Apple Arcade that's came to the Switch.
Nope, that game looks too stressful for me because you're underwater all the time managing your oxygen, and that just does not make me feel good. Not down with that. It's not.
Ocean is scary.
We got the second of the new Nintendo games to announce. Good job.
That looks fun.
Yeah, it looks like dumb fun. I think it's co-op too. Then Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy got Shadow Drop. Apparently it is a multiplayer mode. Academy. I don't know if it's the multiplayer thing's new, but I'm sure people are excited for that.
Yeah, they've been dropping a bunch of random old Star Wars games on Switch recently. Like I feel like every few months we get another one. Like here's this.
Well, and speaking of that, this isn't a Shadow Drop. They also announced Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is coming to the Switch. People are excited for that. And then
the weirdest thing,
we got a new Smash character announcement, baby.
Kind of.
We got a Smash series announcement.
All right, we got to talk about this because this was like the weirdest way they have ever announced a Smash character at all. Because they literally just came and said, "Hey, it's gonna be an ARMS character. Who's it gonna be? Who knows?" They literally put up like all the characters from ARMS, and like who knows who it's gonna be? And like it's so wild. Because nothing is predictable and consistent with Smash Bros. Not the characters and like actually how crazy or like first, third party, all this other stuff. Like the actual like level of hype for the characters is never consistent, and the way that they do them. Because Smash is a game series that a huge pillar of its notoriety and claim to fame in video games is its crazy marketing, and it's like the trailers are like these expertly made crazy hype things that build up and do this. And some characters have that, but then other characters literally have and now it's gonna be ARMS or something, I guess. All right, bye. In the middle of a direct mini, just like it was just
so we're gonna get into this, I assume,
bizarre.
because at this we're just gonna talk about this direct as a whole and everything surrounding it. But I think this might have been thrown together to have something new to talk about, because based on what it sounds like, based on insiders including Jeff Grubb, who said this direct was happening on this day, ended up being correct, so no reason not to really believe on this. It sounds like there were supposed to be other announcements in this direct originally that were not there, and that's probably why it was called a mini direct instead of a regular direct. They just called it the mini direct to be like, hey, this is the mini direct, so we don't have to do all the crazy announcements necessarily that you're
hold pitchforks.
Because it's 30 minutes and it's not like lengthwise, it's actually mini.
No, I mean
it needed to be called mini because there was almost nothing in here. Nothing. And that Xenoblade could have just been dropped. I mean that was really the only
that's the thing I was getting at. About everything in here, some stuff had to be edited for sure. A lot of the stuff could be just stuff that dropped on Twitter. The most notable thing that made the most direct presentations were the Xenoblade thing and Bravely Default. Those were the only things that kind of felt like, this is direct stuff. Even the Pokemon trailer is just kind of like, okay.
There has to be something to Smash. I mean, there is something obviously. You're going to have less blowback than you did with Byleth, because Byleth was treated like a normal Smash reveal, where they even trolled and was like, oh my god, and then Byleth. So they leaned into that. So of course, honestly, they were kind of leaning into that reaction with Byleth, whereas ARMS, it seems like it's the exact opposite. They're like, all right, we know this is not going to be a big splash, so we're just going to kind of and it's here. So now there's not even there's not a whole bunch of hype built up for you to be mad about. It's just kind of it's the most lackluster Smash announcement they've ever had, but probably worthy for ARMS. I mean, and I'm fine with ARMS being in it, but people aren't gonna be like ARMS.
There are people really excited about this actually,
but nowhere near as much as you see people with Joker, and you see the Nintendo the Nintendo store in New York losing their fucking mind. They would never have done that for Twin Tail, Ribbon Girl, whatever
Somewhat. The Nintendo store would have.
Okay, but you can't act like these are equivalent announcements.
No, but that's just the problem that people need to kind of get. I mean, Nintendo doesn't have to do all the third parties for every character.
I'm not saying they are, but I'm saying they didn't treat this like a big deal, like a big crazy.
No, I mean what I was getting at is I think they threw this together in a way of they may not have planned to announce this during this time, and that's why it's like they just said it's an ARMS character, so they can do the character reveal during the June direct.
Yeah, I imagine that's what's going to happen. Yeah,
because otherwise, if this was playing, I think they would have actually maybe had an actual trailer.
Which it is going to be really funny when it just ends up being Springman or Ribbon Girl. It's going to be really
I feel
funny.
like with this whole thing, there's no way it can just be Springman and Ribbon Girl. It has to be something more. Either it be just straight up Twin Tail, or at least if it's Springman as the default, it's at least a hero situation where it's like 4 different character skins at least. Because looking at their, just looking at the roster, there's only about 4 or 5 if you count Springton or Springtron or whatever that fits the skeleton for Springman.
With the way that they did that whole thing, like they showed all the characters and did this whole other thing, it feels like they're hinting at something, but also it feels like this entire thing was not how this was supposed to be announced. So this honestly, like, it still could be Springman and Ribbon Girl, and this was just their weird, like, oh, we have nothing for this direct. Just say this, we're not ready to show the character off at all. Like, they probably don't even have like the Joker equivalent, like where they had no gameplay. It was just, look, it's Joker. They probably don't even have that for ARMS yet. They just know it's going to be like so and so from ARMS, but they didn't want to put up a JPEG of Springman, so they're like, stay tuned later,
Now, if that's how this announcement would backfire, then it just being Springman. They do this, making it think it's more than just Springman, than it's literally just Springman. So, no matter how this goes, it's going to break some of the fans' rules, whether it be assist trophy being promoted within the same game, or if it's like Twin Tail, it's going to break the whole main character first rule.
Yep.
Well, rules are meant to be broken.
Yep. Smash rules are broken quite often.
Honestly, I mean, I've had this opinion for a while about the only main rule is it's got to be the only rules really has got to be a video game character.
Yeah, there are
a very, very, very loose has to be on a Nintendo console at some point in time. Very loose.
They'll stretch it a little.
They'll be like, hey, there were clouds in this game, so here's Cloud. And it's just I know Cloud is.
We're getting into Nier, so that's why I thought of it. Like, let's say they announced 2B. She's in Phantasy Star.
Oh my God.
On Switch.
And whenever they do this, you better know Jeff will be the first one to jump in there and say, well, actually, he was on this list.
I would say it jokingly in that case.
Actually, he was a DLC character.
Yeah, as far as the direct, I do think this because of the coronavirus things mixed around, this was supposed to be a full direct, and they're pushing their announcements because Nintendo likes to, keep things close and announce things generally not too far from the announcement, so they didn't want to, like, let's say Breath of the Wild 2 put it in here and say, like, 2020, and then they get pushed back or whatever. Yeah, they don't want that kind of situation.
I don't mean this to sound as like angry or controversial as it is, because like I really don't care. It's not that big of a deal. But like I just personally I didn't enjoy watching this. There was really not much in here that was like you said. This really could have just been all these individual companies put stuff into it, or even Nintendo was like, tweet, and like this didn't feel like for me something that like I needed to watch, and I'm sure other people feel that way too. Again, I don't really care that much, but I do think that Nintendo, obviously, this is going to be a lighter year for Nintendo. It's hard for me to piece together that not being the case at this point.
Yeah.
It's I can't.
You look at last year as far as like what the lineup was. It was kind of like this year. I think even potentially trying to remember, the first half of this year might be kind of stronger just on the back of Animal Crossing.
I mean, Animal Crossing alone. I mean,
and then the second half went insane with like just games about every month and up some notoriety and all that. Get some big games in there. But even then, last year by this time we knew all of them, I think, except for Ring Fit.
Yeah,
Ring Fit was the only one that was announced that would be announced after this point. We knew about Fire Emblem and Luigi's Mansion and all stuff.
We got done with this, and yes, I know they technically announced 2 Nintendo games, but not. We know what we mean when we say that, and it's not like a high profile thing. Xenoblade is still the only thing that we know for sure. Everything else is nebulous. That like most of the other things like. I'm almost certain they're not coming this year. Like the thing that probably has the best chance of coming this year is like Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, out of the big three nebulous games, Bayonetta, Metroid, and Zelda. Bayonetta's the one I'm more confident in. Like I've said a lot. I will hold the belief until told otherwise by a good source that Zelda was supposed to be this year, but I don't believe at this point it's going to make this year.
Not with coronavirus and everything else.
That.
Like we're gonna start seeing like I think anything past like Final Fantasy VII or in maybe to Last of Us, anything past that is going to be fair game to get delayed. Like, you know,
well, because at this point, most things might get delayed. We don't even know it because we don't have too many dates beyond Last of Us. We got to go to Tsushima, which I believe is done.
Well, like Ubisoft might straight up just not announce that Assassin's Creed Vikings game that was supposed to be coming out this fall. Yeah. If it just doesn't come out this fall, they might not announce it until the fall to come out next spring or something. Yeah, it might be something like that. I keep every single time like Final Fantasy VII has remake has multiple times put up.
They did that like Friday. I'm like,
they did this like 4 different times. And they're like an update.
Put a disclaimer, no delay.
Or it was like an update from the Final Fantasy VII remake team. It's a giant wall of text. And I'm like, oh god, no, oh no.
The last one they just put they just did a link to the website, and I was like, "Oh no, they didn't actually do the text. Oh no, that's probably bad news." Like, you've done the same announcement 3 times.
Apparently, half the people couldn't click on the website either. I think if you were in certain locations, so people didn't know. Yeah, it's fine. It's coming out April 10th. Just if you have a physical, you should probably switch to digital because it's.
Yeah, I canceled. I went ahead and canceled my physical and plan on getting it digitally.
I did as well.
Do you think Cyberpunk gets delayed? Given the situation in Europe,
they've been very. I mean, like CD Projekt Red has been very like vocal and upfront about this, and they said that they were already built where they could do a lot of work from home stuff, and they've came out and said like everything looks good to us still hitting this date because we already had this infrastructure. So just judging off of that, I would guess that it stays.
Yeah, and it sounds like Cyberpunk. It was just the game was on pace to be done, but it was just kind of, little bugs and stuff fixing for September. So
something like
Avengers. Yeah, I'd be a little surprised if it's not pushed back again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Agree.
Okay, so let's talk about the Epic Games Studios, I guess. I was going to go store, but no, this is about the store. Okay, this comes from Adam Banghurst from IGN. Epic Games has announced that it will be publishing the next games from Gen Design, made The Last Guardian, Play Dead, made Inside and Limbo, and Remedy Entertainment, made Control, through Epic Games Publishing, its new multi-platform publishing effort with a developer-first approach. Epic shared the news alongside a video featuring Remedy's Sam Lake, Play Dead's Arndt Jensen, and Gen Design's Fumito Ueda that begins to explain how this new publishing effort will help these creators build their dreams by actually giving them a copy of dreams. The Epic Games approach to publishing fundamentally changes the developer-publisher model and aims to have the most developer-friendly terms in the industry so that creators can focus on making great games. This will be true in the following ways. Full creative freedom and ownership. Developers will retain 100% of all intellectual property and full creative control of their work. Fully funded projects, Epic Games Publishing will cover up to 100% of development costs, from developer salaries to go-to-market expenses such as QA, localization, marketing, and all publishing costs. 50-50 profit sharing. Developers earn a fair share for their work. Once costs are recouped, developers earn at least 50% of all profits. And I added this because it's kind of a separate story. Remedy kind of said all this without saying it was Epic involved in all this. Remedy said that they have 2 games, in this deal, and they are set in the same franchise. So this is a good deal for all the developers, and these are the kind of developers that you're happy to hear. They don't have to worry about money; they just do whatever the hell they want.
Especially Control, because that game bombed pretty hard, from what I know.
It definitely went below what they were hoping.
They were probably going to struggle to get the funding for things, but I mean, Epic. I mean, I will give it to Epic. I mean, obviously they have the biggest cash cow in the world with Fortnite, but in a lot of ways they pump that money into the Epic Game Store that has a lot of good deals for developers. And then this does not really seem like a big money making move. I mean, this is none of these 3 developers, they all make awesome, critically awesome games and just quality, but I don't think any of them are big seller titles, so
cult classic.
They're all artistically creative games that don't really sell. off shelves.
So, I mean, this kind of feels like Epic has so much money, so they're going to do this to... Obviously, part of it is to build clout for Epic Games, you know, and like to make a Sun podcast compliment Epic Games. But it works because, like, obviously, it makes me excited as a fan of... especially Remedy and Playdead, especially, and as someone who's like super excited to see whatever they do next, and to get kind of what at least sounds like no strings attached check from a gigantic company like Epic. That's
and I mentioned this to Darby about the 50-50 profit sharing. Like, I'm assuming that's actually really good considering they actually put the number out there, like saying, "Hey, this is good," and making other developers realize like, Epic, you want to give us a call?
And they kind of did the same thing with the Epic Game Store. It's kind of a shot across the bow to Steam to be like, yep, we have a better revenue split, you know, than Steam. There you go. It's out there, you know.
Also, I'm sure we're got people kind of excited since this is a multi-platform deal.
Yeah.
Like Ueda's next game will not be PlayStation exclusive, which is kind of a big deal in its own right.
Yeah.
Did Shadow of the Colossus come to PC, the remake, or is it still PlayStation exclusive?
I don't think so.
I think it's just heavily rumored to at the moment. I might be wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think that was kind of talked about, maybe being a potential another PlayStation game to go there, but I don't think it's been confirmed. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Gen Design, them being with this is a big deal to me. From what I know,
just PlayStation.
They've been exclusively on the PlayStation consoles.
Big deal all this around. And I'm going to admit, well, Last Guardian was a while ago, so
yeah, it was 2017.
So we could be something seen. Well, then it takes them a little bit. So
I mean, there was obviously problems with that game. You would think that they probably won't have the same amount of problems that take 8 years to make the next game. You would think. But.
Imagine Playdead probably the first one we might see from this because it's been a while since,
and they've been teasing a game for years. So I'm sure this was a game they pretty much already made. They were just getting funding, getting more money to recoup those losses.
They recently shipped that collector's edition of Inside. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw that there is a collector. Is something special about it?
Yeah, it was $300.
I remember that now.
It came with a special thing, which if you played Inside, go look at it. If you have not played Inside, don't go look at it. Play the game first.
Please don't. Yeah,
it's pretty great.
And if you haven't played it, if you haven't played Inside, what are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
You go play Inside.
It's kind of weird looking at these. We were talking about none of these are commercial hits, but it feels like Playdead's the smallest, like, out of these as far as name recognition. But Inside probably did the best as far as like expectations to.
Inside's kind of a horror game that like absolutely terrified me. I was captivated from start to finish of that game.
Well, speaking of horror, this comes from CJ Melendez from Rely on Horror. According to, I kind of skipped the first paragraph because it was just kind of fluff, but going into it, according to a North American PR representative for Konami, recent Silent Hill rumors are not true. Quote, we're aware of all the rumors and reports that can confirm, but can't confirm that they are not true. I know it's not the answer your fans may want to hear, said the Konami US PR rep. We asked the Konami US PR rep for some clarification on the company's claim that the rumors were false, asking if both the reported Silent Hill reboot by SIE Japan studio with Toyama, Ito, and Yamaoka on board, as well as the separate Silent Hills revival that Sony's allegedly pitching to Kojima Productions, are both not true. No response received after a week of follow-ups. The initial response about the rumors was received within an hour of our first email. In the Konami rep's original email, he also said, it's not to say we are completely closed the door on the franchise, just not in the way it is being reported.
There will be more pachinko machines. Don't worry.
The franchise will never die as long as there's
Isn't there a new movie?
Machines.
Isn't that something we talked about last time?
Yeah.
Or rumor or something?
Are there pachinko machines in the movies?
Yes, 100%. I'd be shocked.
I mean, in video games especially, if it sounds too good to be true, it often is.
Yeah. Bummer. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think if you're a Silent Hill fan, it's just like, whatever, man. I'm just waiting. Something might happen.
It's one of those things that, like, the logic says with how many things get remade and remastered constantly and rebooted and everything else nowadays, that it's like, surely it's a matter of time. Someone has to be working on it, but then it's also Konami, so maybe not. I mean, that's the problem with Silent Hill. You still have to imagine eventually, but if they're not working on it right now, then you're looking at, like, earliest 3 years from now. So Probably no time soon.
Yeah, and then I guess on a more positive take on it, I mean, there's been plenty of times companies have been, hey, we're not working on this rumor or we're not working on this thing that this rumor says, and then, whoa, look, it's that thing that we said wasn't going to happen, but it's actually happening. Surprise!
Gotcha.
Yeah. So,
Praise us.
Y'all said he was wearing a blue shirt. It was a completely wrong rumor. He's wearing a white shirt.
but like I said, I mean, if you're a Silent Hill fan like me, it's just like whatever. Like we'll see what happens.
You're bulletproof at this point. You feel
No,
nothing.
wait, I got it. The rumors are kind of true, but the difference is they just said all the rumors collectively aren't true because they already got Kojima.
Yeah, one little fact about that makes it all false.
So it's all happening for sure. We got it, guys.
We cracked the code here at Nuzlocke. You heard it first. Go write your articles.
Yep. Okay, Jacob, we got something to talk about. Nice little.
Should I leave? Should I leave also, girls?
We got a nice little surprise this morning. I guess we kind of knew it was coming because I knew this stream was happening at some point soon.
Yeah, I mean, with those Japanese live streams, it's kind of like a 50-50 chance that there will actually be news, or if it's just going to be like
there was a good bit of
skits.
news. We're talking about, of course, the announcement of whatever they're calling a version up of the original Nier called Nier Replicant version 1.224744871139 ... Here's some information about it, and we go all in. It's developed by Toy Logic, which scares me a little bit. I think that's the recent Contra Games developer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, at least they're just kind of porting a game. Like they're not making something new here, right? Kind of. So you know,
it's going to be fully voiced with re-recorded voices, but that could just be kind of Japan as far as the fully re-recorded. Automato's Takahisa Tora is also helping development. Saito says it's a version up, not a remake or a remaster, whatever the hell that means. Saito doesn't know if there will be a new ending. Lots of stuff being added from the original, including a new character. Re-recording using new sound by composer Kiichi Okabe. 2B's and 9S's voice actors will have a small role. Nier Reincarnation, a mobile game, was also announced. No hope for that at all.
Yeah.
Nier Automata has now sold, as of March 2020, 4.5 million copies.
Y'all, Nier's officially gotten too big. They can do cash grabs off of it with like mobile games.
That's how we know Square Enix like Nier's made it.
He made it.
We made a mobile game. So yeah, the thing that sucks is because about the mobile game, I'm sure there'll be some story relevance to it.
Yeah. You can read about it on I don't know, Reddit or something.
Jeff, you play Kingdom Hearts.
I'm used to this. I'm not saying necessarily bad. I'm used to this.
No, it can be bad. You're just used to it. Both of those things can be true.
Honestly, somebody likes Nier. Just forget about all the extra tidbits and additions through like the stage plays and the CDs and just
I'll never forget Yoko Taro though.
Just don't stress about it.
But always remember the audiobook thing for Final Fantasy X 2.5.
But should Jeff play this?
This remaster?
Yeah, he's only playing Nier Automata.
Yeah, definitely play it. It's a really good game.
There was a question if I was going to play it?
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like, I think haven't you straight up said that you like Nier's actually you prefer Nier over Nier Automata? Didn't you say that before?
No, I like Nier Automata.
Okay, I thought you had said that, but you at least like Nier a whole lot.
Yeah, Nier's
and a lot of people like have never played Nier, even though they played Nier Automata. You know, like a lot of people jumped on.
Obviously, with those two numbers, Nier, I'd be surprised if Nier broke 1 million.
Yeah, no, that was what was crazy.
But here's the interesting thing about this, and I didn't realize know about all this stuff until this morning when reading up on this. There are two different versions of the original Nier.
Yeah.
One of them, Nier Replicant, where you play as a guy trying to find his sister, and then
the older brother trying to find his
younger sister, and Nier, forgetting the name of the other one,
Gestalt.
Gestalt, where you're a dad trying to find his daughter, where they're mostly the same game, pretty much with some little changes, but in Japan. The dad one, I believe, was on Xbox 360. The brother one was on PS3, but in America, we only got the dad one.
Yeah, we only got the dad version.
But in this one, as far as based on the name, this seems to be the case. It's just straight up just the brother one, which is having some people upset.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. I think it would be remiss of them to not have Papa Nier in the... that's what it's called. Papa Nier.
We have Papa Nier, Brother Nier.
That's what people call him. But yeah, it'd be kind of a remiss of Square Enix to not have the replicant version alongside this, because I didn't play Brother Nier, so to me Nier is this ugly 40-year-old man trying to cure his daughter of a terminal disease, and there are some things narratively that makes more sense if Nier, the character of Nier, is a older brother figure. Mm-hmm. But I like the father-daughter dynamic more than the older brother younger sister dynamic.
Mm-hmm. I know premise. I didn't play the game.
Yeah, there are some details that, like I said, absolutely make more sense with the brother character. But we'll see.
Brother is canon. So says Shokotaro.
Yeah, I think they made. I guess they made the father character, I guess, for Western audiences.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense in a way, as far as like maybe choosing one over the other, just from a Japan standpoint of it being the PS3 version one in Japan.
Yeah. And also, Papa Nier is voiced by the same guy who voices Sejiro in Persona 5. So I can listen to his voice all day.
Nice.
So that'd be a little sad not to hear. But yeah, Nier is a great game. I think it's also a little sad if they don't change anything about the gameplay. I don't think it's like a deal breaker necessarily. I think the gameplay in the original Nier is fine for what it is, but it's definitely not.
It's if they don't change it much, as someone who's just played Nier Automata, I know it's gonna be a step down.
Yeah,
I'm going in knowing that.
Yeah, it's serviceable, but it'd be a missed opportunity to not improve the gameplay in some way.
I'm going in primarily for the story.
Yeah, and that's what you should do.
Yeah. I mean, this game's an instant day one buy, no questions asked.
Yeah.
I didn't mention in there. It is scheduled for 2020. They said they're going to try their hardest to keep it within the 10-year anniversary range. So this year.
I'm wondering how they're going to handle the graphics, because
that's what I'm very curious about too. Like, because I know it's Japanese developer speaking. It can be whatever the hell he wants, but he's saying it's not a remaster or a remake. It's a version up. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. And especially too,
is it a Xenoblade type thing where they're kind of not calling it a remake, but also kind of the definitive edition? I mean, if it's like that kind of thing, I'm all for it. Yeah. More of that.
Hope they don't change the environmental art style a little. No, they don't change the environmental art style too much with this remastered version, because the original Nier, aesthetically, it's very washed out in a way that I think looks very interesting.
Oh, okay.
Like, there'll be parts where you'll walk along the beach and the sunlight is like pure white. It's like incredibly bright, but I kind of like that artistic.
It's a choice.
Artistic choice. So I hope they don't change the lighting or the art style too much.
It's definitely interesting, because a lot more eyes would be on this now after Nier Automata than there would have been. This honestly probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Nier Automata's success. So.
Like, it's crazy. Like, in a way, it's just kind of funny that they're both having at the same time, Nier and Xenoblade. Both of them getting these remasters or whatever for the same year, both their 10-year anniversary. Like, they were both franchises that were kind of, not big, and
they had a late surgence.
Yeah, late surgence, both with their most recent game released the same year. Yeah, both 2017. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy, the parallels with that. And yeah, there are going to be a lot more eyes on this Nier. It's going to be interesting to see like how much now does the fan base of Nier Automata follow this. I know it's the kind of whatever this is of the original game, so it's not the biggest indicator.
I think
but
if it like still feels and plays like the original Nier, like you said, and they don't change much of anything, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of people who are just Nier Automata fans jump into this and probably not like it, or can't. The old game is old thing. It's just gonna be hard to go back to, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, people that see that as not 2B and be like, "What the fuck is this garbage?"
I think a lot of people got into Nier Automata who are not necessarily normally into games like this. They kind of like the marketing was super good, the word of mouth was super good, and just like I even saw a lot of people that were just fans of action games that just got really into this. Not usually fans of Japanese storytelling, but
Well, my interest in whatever Square Enix decides to do each time went up a good bit.
Yeah, it's exciting. I'm curious to see more, to see how this remake looks.
Apparently, there's going to be something related to this game in Famitsu at the end of next month. How big of a thing that is, who knows? Guess we will find out.
You know what I'm excited about, Jeff?
Shantae.
Shantae.
Yep, so we finally got a release date for Shantae and the Seven Sirens.
And of course,
May 28th, baby, on Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And that's in its entirety. You can play the Part 2 update now on Apple Arcade. So people are already finishing this game up as we speak, probably.
lame. But why is there some weird like magnetic pull to the end of May? Literally, there's 2 days.
Shantae's the one that I'm like, oh no, might actually affect it somewhat. Because, you know.
I'm obviously going to be playing Last of Us first. I'm partially going to be waiting for Last of Us for so long, and it's going to be spoiled immediately if I don't play it immediately. So
yeah.
No, man, you got 24 hours to get Shantae.
That's true.
Yep, for IGN's like, can you believe that Joel turned into a dolphin?
What's this with this weird new fungi virus thing? It turns people into dolphins.
What the hell? No, obviously I am so excited for this game. After like Shantae at the end of last year was such a just like amazing comfort game for me. It was like addicting to just like listen to a podcast and just like forget about everything. And, like it was just a nice game. And I'm like, this one definitely art style wise I really like, and I'm just excited to see them like have a whole bunch more transformations and a bunch of new cool things. And
yep, well, it's like I haven't looked that much. It's easy to find out the stuff since like I'm pretty sure the whole game is out there right now. However, it seems like the transformations are more temporary and not just for moves and not like you turn into a monkey and you can say that way.
Oh yeah, well I mean as long as it's done well.
Yeah, of course. And it's a lot more Metroidvania with a connected map and all that.
Okay,
based on what I've seen. Went back to the Pirate's Curse way.
Yeah, which I do want to play Pirate's Curse as well.
Yeah. Okay, so quick headlines. These are just going to be headlines. If you guys want to talk about them, fine. If not, we can just move on. PlayStation Network slowing down game downloads in Europe, and they confirmed it's also happening in the US. Yep. Because due to the coronavirus. GameStop set to close 300 more stores this year after 300 last year. GameStop is going under.
Is it glad that I'm like good?
They're making it harder and harder to pull for them, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like GameStop is a company, but whenever I hear people say that, I'm like, man, I just feel so bad for the people that actually work.
I do. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So it's hard for me to go and like good.
Yeah, ultimately that is who is harmed in this situation.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, if you just say that forever, then big companies never get punished.
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying people work. They just got to shop there.
It's bad all the way around.
But it's kind of more just appealing like, yeah, good riddance type thing.
Yeah, no, I'm
definitely
that. I would rather them change and just be a better company.
Yeah,
that would be the best case scenario. Yeah, sure.
Okay, Gears Tactics co-developer Splash Damage is working on a Google Stadia exclusive. Yep.
You're going to see more of these stories. Is it just going to get to be bigger and bigger developers, or is it always going to be like Gears Tactics developer? I don't
know. We'll find out in like 5 years. If it's not dead yet.
When Google controls the world and we have to play Stadia. Stadia
only. Stadia is our god. The god of gaming. Okay, guys. It is time for sales time.
Sales time.
To close out the podcast. This comes from Christopher
How
Green.
many bells is Tom Nook bringing in, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah. I got a good bit of Animal Crossing sales things, and then we can talk about that. Then we can go to some Doom Eternal sales.
This is not my joke, but he's a billionaire.
Get the fuck out of here.
Sorry.
This comes from Christopher Dream from GameIndustry.biz. Animal Crossing New Horizons has become a major hit in the UK. Nintendo's critically acclaimed sequel has sold more copies in its first week on sale than the launch sales of all previous Animal Crossing games combined, including the spin-offs. The launch is 3.5 times bigger than the last game of this series, 2013's Animal Crossing New Leaf on Nintendo 3DS, which was the previous biggest launch for the series. It is also the biggest single game launch on Nintendo Switch since the console came out. Although if you combine the sales of Pokemon Sword and Shield together, those games enjoyed a bigger first week. So big numbers for UK, but UK is never usually the biggest indicator of anything. Yeah. But it's still a big thing. Now let's head over to farther east to Japan. This comes from Famitsu. Animal Crossing New Horizons sold 1.8 million physical units in its first week. For comparison, Pokemon Sword and Shield together sold 1.36 million, and Smash sold 1.24 million in their first weeks. The Switch sold 392,576 units during that time span this past week, which is the system's best week ever in Japan.
Hot damn. Yeah. Japan's not that big. 1.8 million is bonkers.
Oh, well, Darby, here's even more because that's just physical. Daniel Ahmad added this for Japan. It sold 2.5 million total in its first 3 days, physical and digital in Japan.
That's like
3 days.
That's like worldwide numbers. That's good for a lot of games. 2.5 in Japan.
Animal Crossing is huge.
So, Jeff, do you want to revise whatever we predicted where this was going to land on the Nintendo's thing, or do you still feel good about it? 'Cause I think me and you both had it like 4th, didn't we, or something?
I was the one who was saying bigger, and you guys were calling me crazy.
Is that what happened? I thought
kind of. I mean, pretty much. I was saying it could be like the biggest game besides maybe Animal Crossing. I mean, but Mario Kart.
I was about to say what? I had to roll back the tape. I thought we pretty much all.
We talked about it. You guys kind of told me. I was saying I think it would potentially be able to do that.
I gotta roll back that tape. I don't know. we'll see.
We've talked about it also off thing, and that might have been when I said it.
Yeah, I remember on podcast.
I know. I was talking
doing the list, and we came to about the same point. I forgot what we had above it and below it, but.
I know I was talking bigger about his potential sales potential than you guys. That's all I know. Or at least Darby. I can't remember if Jacob was on that or not. Or we talked about it. But anyway, these numbers are huge. I am very curious. Here's the nice thing potentially as far as seeing how Animal Crossing is sold is the fiscal year for Nintendo ends in the next couple days. So sometime in the next month, I can't remember. It'd be by the end of April or early May. We'll get their financial report where they actually give completed numbers, so we'll know what they made in the first 10 days.
Nice,
exact numbers worldwide. So I expect huge. And Benji Sales on Twitter, who talks about sales, particularly U.S. sales. We're looking at it and it's crazy, how much Animal Crossing is selling. It's surpassing any expectations, even the high expectations, and if you had pretty high expectations for the Switch sales too, it surpassed those. The Switch it sold almost 400,000 in a week in Japan.
Yeah,
new Switches.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It is pretty wild. I think it's the perfect story of just the marketing and the hype for this game has been kind of noticeably bigger than on my Twitter timeline. It was bigger than Pokemon for sure. There was a lot of hype for Pokemon, don't get me wrong, but Animal Crossing is just unescapable.
People were thirsty for Animal Crossing, where we get a Pokemon game every year.
And I don't know, I didn't know how much of that was me just being in a video game industry echo chamber where just everyone was super excited about it, but obviously not completely. And I do think, I don't think it would be drastically different, but I honestly do think the coronavirus helped these sales, which
absolutely.
I'm not saying that in a yay, Karina. I'm sure it feels.
The coronavirus really isn't that bad.
I'm sure it feels kind of weird if you're at Nintendo, where it's yay, we got more sales, but also when you think about why we got them,
yeah. And with that said, the numbers would still be insane for this anyway.
They would be.
Yeah, it could make it a little more front loaded then.
It could.
Because I imagine just at least part of it is people that were thinking about getting it more down the road were I'll just get it now. Yeah. I'll get it day one.
It is the perfect game for these dire times.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the kind of game it is and just the cozy vibes and all that. It's the game we need. Now let's talk about another kind of game we need. This comes from Sal Romano from Gamatsu. Jim Eternal broke the franchise record for opening weekend sales with double the launch revenue of the 2016 release Doom. Publisher Bethesda Softworks and developer ID Software announced. So Doom's actually doing pretty good too. This is probably the biggest success Bethesda's had in a while.
But also put it in perspective, it sold worldwide as much as Animal Crossing did in Japan, and it's good, right? 2.5 million. Am I looking at the right thing, or am I looking at the wrong thing?
We have no sale exact. No, you're looking at the Daniel Ahmad thing for.
Whoops. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Continue.
We don't have exact numbers. Okay. We just know it did double the revenue.
Gotcha. So it's doing good.
Yeah. Doom is doing good as well. Which, Bethesda as a company needed a win.
Yeah. For sure. Doom was the most obvious one of those, and now I guess we just look for whenever we see more about Elder Scrolls and freaking Sky, whatever the hell it's Starfield. There you go. I was about to say Skyfall. They're releasing a 007 game.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that's a podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Jacob, do you want to plug that blog one more time?
Yeah, that is jacobhamill.blog, which is JACOBHAMILL.BOLG. I'll be writing different things, not just video game stuff, but also I'll probably post like recipes. It's going to be like a food blog, a music blog.
Hell yeah.
Video game blog.
It's just a general Jacob-centric blog. Just whatever Jacob's brain is thinking about.
Quite the kitchen sink. So,
but are you going to review toys?
I might review toys.
Okay, good. I heard that's in now.
Yes.
Toy reviews.
Stay tuned for my review of Connect 4.
Hell yeah, dude.
Let's go, baby.
I'm stoked. All right, we're just going to delete all the content on our YouTube channel and just put up like Jacob talking about Connect 4.
That should be your April 1st.
Yeah,
I said it on air now, damn it.
Yeah, these red chips are really real well made, and I think the way that they slot into the grid is very, very
They have a
satisfying.
good mouthfeel. Wait shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like the black chips are overpowered, so 5 out of 10.
Little umami flavor.
All right, and check out Late to the Party to see our shenanigans with Super Mario RPG, and then whatever we decide to do next. Who knows? All right, thank you guys so much. Bye.
Goodbye.